Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching this live stream. That's just impromptu live stream. Let's see here. Where is my what's it called? There it goes. The comment section. I can see that now. The comment section here. Hey guys. Let's see here. Do we see them? Okay. And let's see here. How many people watching? Got 17 people watching on X and 22, and one person has joined the YouTube just because, it's just a promptu thing. Man, the fear and greed. It's right here. Look at that. Blam. 8. Yesterday 5. And and you're like, what do we all do? What are we going to do? Man, how we're going to survive this? How is it possible that fear and greed can be this low for this long? Yes, we've been in extreme fear for 2 months now. And you're thinking, Jesus, man, and it's going to go lower. It's going to go lower. Yeah, it's going to go lower, right? Hopefully, right? You bought the dip, and you've been buying with dollar cost average. And let me show you. I'm gonna tell you a little trick today in this episode on how to buy the dip without buying the dip and saying I don't have any more money to buy the dip every single time it goes dipping. Keep dipping and earn interest whilst you're still buying the dip. So if you're interested in constantly buying the dip, dollar costing average into the dip, and making sure that you get the best possible price, even better than DCA, hold on to your hats. Watch all the way to the end, right? And I will be telling you exactly how to do that. So, you know what? And if you guys hit the like, right? Hit the subscribe. If we get to 25 likes, right? Which is easy because we're right now at 11, right? I'll definitely give you that secret tip where you can actually DCA into Bitcoin and actually get the best DCA level and get earned interest on your DCA. How's that for a DCA plan? Would you like that? I'm sure you would. Okay. With that said, I've seen all of this before, right? I've seen this collapse of Bitcoin prices many, many times. And, you get those people. When I was earlier on, I got those people that says, oh, it's nothing. You're crap. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. You've wasted your money. Oh, my God. And, Michael Saylor's getting a lot of that flack probably. But the truth remains, right? Here, I'm just want to change the display because it's really tiny and I need to see you guys. Oops, wrong screen. There we go. And now it's too big. That's okay. I'll deal with it. Okay, so let me just change this. Boom. There we go. Okay, now I can see all your text because it's nice and big, right? And guys, yes, so I've seen this before. Michael Saylor has probably seen this a little bit because he was in the beginning of the run, right? He started buying in 2020, I think it was. Yeah, 2020. Yes, that's right. At the very beginning of the run, right? At $10,000. So he's seen a drawdown, right? When it went to 60,000 and the drawdown all the way down to $17,000. But remember, he started at 10, right? And so, there was very little ridicule, but there was probably a lot that we just didn't see. Okay? And we're seeing that now, like heavy ridicule everywhere. Man, you should have seen the ridicule when we went from $32 down to $2. That was horrible. No sound. Test, 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 test. Yes, there is sound. There is audio. And I will check it once again. I'll check it here. Test. Yeah, the audio should be coming through. Yeah, so people, who's got the audio, say yes, I have audio. And those, everyone refresh your YouTube. And then those that don't have audio, let me know. So everybody can, yeah. Okay, great, awesome. So that means that certain people are not, just need to refresh or do something with their sound or something like that. Okay, cool. Okay. So with that said, wow, it's been, a long road, but I knew. Here's the thing: when I watched it go down to $2, I knew, right? And let me just move the camera a little bit. Sorry, I want it that way. Oops, that's too far. There we go. So I knew the Bitcoin was going to do what it was going to do, where it's going to be here today, right? If I were to tell people at $2, right? At $2, hey, Bitcoin is going to be what's it at $63,000 and falling, and people would be panicking, like absolutely panicking. They would have thought, what? What are you crazy? It's going to zero. At $2, right? They would have thought it was going to zero. There's no chance it would get to $63. Never mind back to the $32. You're crazy. And that is the kind of thing that people keep doing, right? When you have an asset that will definitely make the money, right? They keep selling it, right? You can see it right in stock markets. So it happens all the time, right? The market shakes people out. An IPO, of the Facebook dropped, of Amazon dropped, and people like, oh yeah, you're wasting your money. It's crap, crazy. But they can't see the long-term value. Bitcoin has long-term value, not because some CEO is really smart or some sort of person or group of people will have a great idea that's going to do very well, and people are going to buy something, right? They're going to buy, for example, the products that they make and so forth, and they're going to continue making more, better and better products that you're going to continue buying, like Apple. No, because Apple has to innovate, and Apple is now not innovating and not improving their product. The product is getting crappier and crappier by the day. And eventually Apple is going to collapse. Not for a while. Now their plan with AI might actually give them some new lease on life, because, man, their latest equipment, right, with the 512 gigabytes of RAM on Mac Studio, is so useful for AI. It's not funny, especially if you want to manage it yourself. But eventually they're going to fall behind. They're going to fall behind, like Intel did, who's falling behind. And we won't know if they might end up like Kodak one day. But Bitcoin's something different. It's a different animal. Why is it different? Because it's a protocol. Okay? You're like, what? Huh? What? I don't understand what a protocol is. Okay. A protocol is a means of communications. Okay. And what is a means of communication? Well, I'm communicating with you right now in a means of communication called English. We have a set of rules of how English works, how you speak in English, how you understand English. And that's been a protocol for a very long time. Yes, there's been some changes to it, slight changes. But overall, has stayed the same, right? And hasn't disappeared. And there's a lot of different protocols out there, but English became the best, the number one protocol out there. It's going to be very difficult to dethrone English as the protocol, right? Assuming that, people still around, right? Well, the same with Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin, assuming people are still around, it's going to be really difficult to dethrone that as from the top of being money. Why? Because it's the most fair and honest system. That's it. It's straightforward. So this is why any price manipulation down or up, right? The crazy leverage of people trying to basically buy with the printed money in order to see it go up, and then cash out with the leverage. They're going to cause the prices to drop heavy. Right? That's how it works. Right? Leverage speculators get washed out and sell into this market and push the price down. And so this is what's happening with Bitcoin. And so you could take advantage of this. You could take advantage of this on the way up, and you could take advantage of this on the way down. And I'm going to talk about how to take advantage of the on the way down part, right? So if you got cash, right, large amounts of cash, and you're thinking, okay, well, I don't know where the bottom is. And you're smart if you say that. You're a very smart person. I want to get in, right? But I want to maximize how much I can get, okay? I want to maximize that. How can I do that? Well, there's an interesting thing with what's called decentralized exchanges. Most of you don't know how they work. Basically, they do not have what's called an order book. An order book, right, is basically all the buyers and sellers. I don't know if I can show you an order book here. No, I can't. All the buyers and sellers, right, showing up and deciding, okay, well, I want to buy at this price. I want to sell at this price. Maybe they sell it at the higher price. Then maybe they buy it at a lower price. That's an order book. And when it comes to actual decentralized exchanges, they don't use order books. They use math, right, to figure out what the value is based on how much you put in of each of the different sides of the liquidity pool. That's what's called a liquidity pool. And so basically, let me explain it to you with a Bitcoin to Bitcoin liquidity pool. It's a little bit easier concept to grasp. If I put in tBTC, which is Bitcoin, and WBTC, which is Bitcoin, I put them into a liquidity pool 1-to-1, right? Somebody might buy tBTC over and sell WBTC. And so you'll have a little bit more tBTC and a little bit less WBTC. But you still have the same two. Let's just say you put in 2 Bitcoins. You still have the same 2 Bitcoins. Why? Because they're both Bitcoin. So in that example, if somebody bought tBTC, you'd have more WBTC. That's bought tBTC. Sorry. In that example, if somebody bought tBTC, you'd have more WBTC. That's right, because they'd have to give you WBTC, and you'd have less tBTC, right? So let's just say they bought 0.1 tBTC, 0.1. So effectively, they wouldn't get 0.1 WBTC, unfortunately, because by the math, it's called a slippage. The price would slip depending on the liquidity, how the liquidity was designed, would slip in such a way that he would not get a full 1.1 WBTC because of the liquidity math, basically. The math that's saying, hey, you know what, this is based on effectively how price would move based on how you would, and then boom, he would get 0.9 or 0.8 or whatever it is. I can't tell you what it would be because It would depend on how the person provided the liquidity, right? But they wouldn't get the full 0.1. And so the person who's providing liquidity would still be even because you'd have a little bit more WBTC and a little bit, exactly the same amount less in TBTC. So you're still working out, like if you put in 2 Bitcoins, you still worked out with just 2 Bitcoin, just a little bit more WBTC. Same thing, right? All right. With that understanding, the same logic applies if you were to put 100,000. Let's just say Bitcoin was $100,000, and you put in $100,000 of USDC and 1 Bitcoin. Well, when the price were to move, right, somebody would actually move down. Somebody would actually take your Bitcoins and sell them into the market because, hey, there's a discrepancy. So they have to take those Bitcoins and get the dollars, right? They'll maybe buy it at or sell it, right, at that price, and it will readjust mathematically. And not only that, you'll get a percentage of that trade. You get a percentage. And so you are getting more Bitcoin in a sense. When price is going down, you're getting more Bitcoins because you end up with more Bitcoin because they're going to give you dollars, right? Give you Bitcoin and take your dollars, right? Because now you're selling it at a higher price than what it was. And so as price moves around, but it doesn't always do that. It doesn't always like stay at one price, right? It moves back up to 100,000, moves back down. Through that 100,000 is going up and down. And each time it does that, and each time somebody takes it and moves it back and forth, you're getting a percentage. And you can mark whatever percent you want. 10%, 3%, whatever. Right? And so as the market trades with your liquidity, and price goes down, you get more and more Bitcoin without actually having to dollar cost average. Now, I'm going to be teaching this in my school, how to do this, how to set this up, and how to make money like this, right? Because it allows you to actually dollar cost average, because you're not going to buy. It's not like you're going to take that let's just put in 100,000 in Bitcoin and one Bitcoin, and you think you're going to get 100,000 at the end of worth of Bitcoin. No. You get an average down, right? Which is still going to be way better than what you could have done any other way, right? So, 1, you end up with more Bitcoin. 2, you get interest by people trading, right? So you get the fees for people trading that up and down. So if you want to basically learn how to do that, I'm teaching that in the school. So step-by-step process, right? It's going to be available for everyone who's in the class. So check that out. Anyways, if you guys have any questions, let me know. I will gladly answer them. I noticed that one person says, I saw a question, are we at the bottom? Which coin will be the next BTC? TBTC, tSAT is the next Bitcoin. If you just head over to, so if you go to the description, tSATs are there, and you could just buy some. It's only like less than a penny, like less than 1/10 of a penny, actually, less than 1/10 of a penny. And you can get a lot of tSATs. A lot of tSATs. And you're going to be rich. Just start loading up slowly. Load up, right? Because honestly, if you think you missed it, this is why you're like, oh, what's the next Bitcoin? What's the next Bitcoin? Because you think you missed it, right? Let me just show you something. I want to show you something. I'm going to show you something on my X account. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss it. All of these dollars here and plus real estate is coming into here. Real estate is 400 trillion. You're like, why is so much coming into real estate? Why? Real estate only goes up. Yeah, okay. people do not store their wealth in dollars because they know they're going to lose value. So they store it in things like stock markets and real estate. Eventually, right, when we have hard money, real estate comes down because all the wealth goes into the hard money asset, because now you don't have, unlike a house, like real estate, you have to maintain, you have to keep its quality. With Bitcoin, you do not. There is no cost of ownership. Boom. So there's another 400 goddamn trillion that's coming into Bitcoin. 400 trillion. Dude, you early. So if you want a coin that's going to get $400 trillion worth of money coming into it, head over and buy some tSATs. That's coming. It's coming to the tSATs too. It's coming to Bitcoin as well. That's it. It's easy as that. It's up to you. Let me see. Next question. Okay, your opinion on Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin is just going to continue to, it'll have its days where it pumps, but it will continue to be less of a value compared to holding Bitcoin. You'll be able to hold more, or get more value out of Bitcoin than you could with Litecoin, right? You'll get more value out of silver even. Like, Jesus, come on, man. Yeah, tSATs on Solana, stablecoin, pegged to Bitcoin, tSATs, SATs. All right, let's see here. Any other questions? All right, only spamming people. No more spam, guys. Okay. 30K is a pretty good entry, yes, but what happens if we never get into 30K? So don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try to guess where the price is going to be. That's just dumb. That's dumb. Because it ain't going to get there. Right? Can we get to 180K in the next bull run? Yeah, we could get to 180K, 200K, whatever. It's just, the issue is not any kind of manipulation, because that's going to be there. The issue is, will the institutional players understand, hey, they're buying, they need to buy this now, and they're going to continue buying until, the price starts to score higher from its all-time high, and they're going to hold, just like Michael Saylor's going to do. They're going to hold forever. Wait for the next bear market and then start buying again. Right? That's how they're going to do. And then we're going to go through that cycle for a while, because central banks are not buying Bitcoin, or else Bitcoin will be worth a lot more than it is today. And people are still wondering about the what's it called, the quantum computer thing, but it's not a big deal. I've talked about it in yesterday's episode. Please check it out. It is not a problem. Are you still bullish on Caspa? Yes, bullish long term, I said. I always said that. If you're going to buy Caspa, don't expect to see big numbers this time around, right? You're going to see it next time. Thoughts on HBAR? It's a scam. DCA and add powder to buy more as it goes lower. Yes, that's it. That's all you need to do, right? I gave you a little bit of a formula that allows you to do it, that maximizes your DCA. What's the lowest value in Bitcoin in this bear market? I would say the lowest value would be $37,000, $38,000, $36,000. Lowest possible value, I think we'll see. Right, based on the charts. Is there any other investment even outside of crypto, that will be the big as Bitcoin. Here's the thing. There will be assets that are just as big as Bitcoin for the short term, but Bitcoin in the end will outpace it at all. Will just destroy it. So for example, for a year, 6 months, or something like that, something is going to outcompete Bitcoin, and everybody's going to point, see, it's a Bitcoin killer. And Bitcoin's just going to go, okay, I guess so. And continue right along until it starts killing. And then nobody will remember how much it's killing that other asset. So if we were to take a look, let's see here. I'm going to bring up this chart. Let's see if I can bring it up. Oh, come on. Why is it not coming up? Let's start with the Bitcoin Ethereum chart. If it loads. There we go. Look at this. It was absolutely destroying it, and it failed. It's failing now. Boom. It failed with this downward trend line, right? After it broke out. It broke. Let's just see how. Wow. Look at that. Jesus. This was the absolute top. And that was 43. And that's what I was thinking. It was going to hit the 38.2, and then that's it. The best case scenario, the best case scenario was the 60,000, which I didn't think it was going to go. The 0.06, I mean, sorry. 0.06, and yeah, there it is. It didn't make it. So in this run up here, it outperformed, but now it's not. Right? And we could do that with every single market. We can do that with gold, right? Let's see here. Let's do that with gold over here. Oh man, this didn't load. Oh yeah, this is not going to bring up the gold to Bitcoin. Let's see if we can do it with this. What's an AU? Index futures. Gold futures. Not even sure. Okay, well, I'll just use this one and see if that works. Oh, come on. Exchange agreements need to be filled out. It needs to be filled out in order to get the. Oh my God, no. How about no? I don't care. What is this, Apple stock? Jesus. Just to get the data, you have to agree to, here, can I get your firstborn, please? Just to get some data? Oh, you want the data? Firstborn, please. Firstborn. Yes, I need that. Like, get screw off. See, divided by. Hey, you want the CME. Crimex. Categories. United States. Of course. Jesus. Silver futures. Yeah, I can't seem to find it. Oh. Gold futures? Yes. Let's see here. Is that it? Yeah, I think so. Yes, there we go. Okay, so as this drops, this is the Bitcoin price dropping. How many ounces of gold? Look at that. Let's see here. Let's go to a weekly chart. So this is how many ounces of gold, right? It's 1 Bitcoin's worth. So it peaked here, peaked there, 40. And now we've been dropping ever since we peaked at around 40 ounces of gold, 41 ounces, right? Damn, down to 12, right? And so every once in a while, right, an asset like gold will outperform Bitcoin, right? This is the performance of gold right now. Right, it was a high of 37, and boom, damn, down to 12. Let's see what's the worst case? Jesus, I think we're already in the absolute. Like, how did we get to this low? Look at this. It's almost at its majorly low. Like, it didn't even beat this low here. Okay, but look at that. So this is an example of major outperformance. But gold is outperforming everything. Why is it outperforming everything? Right? Because central banks buy gold, and central banks want to rule the world with gold by being the one that's, oh yeah, trust us with the gold, and we'll issue the certificates, the dollars, or our local currency against the gold we've got. And you're just going to trust that we can keep that promise, that linked up promise. That's what they're used to. That's what they're planning, but it's not going to work. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to end the show there. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.